Hey folks, it's Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be my video on Religion Ignores Discoveries. And basically this came about when I was doing my book proposal. It's something you have to do to sell a book, and you don't actually have to have the book written to sell it. However, you do have to have a book proposal prepared and a query letter, which a query letter is sort of like your resume, where your book proposal, like, anywhere from 10 to 20 pages, and you have to have a, we don't have to, but I have an ideas section here, and I'm basically, when I was developing this first paragraph on my ideas section and getting my thoughts clear, what I already understood in my unconscious, making it conscious and putting it down on paper, is really telling about these past religions, and I wanted to share it with some of you because I know some of you actually get it and care and want to learn and progress and have tools to defend yourself against the ignorance of religious people. So I'm just going to read it here to tell you the first. I'm going to read the first paragraph, which you haven't heard before, and you haven't read it before on In My Falling Away of Growth. The second paragraph, you've read a little bit of it on Falling Away of Growth, and I even did a video on it. But I think I'm going to read that again just to sync the whole message together. And then we'll come back through and talk about it, and I think it's going to be pretty entertaining. Over the past 2 millenniums, there have been amazing revelations to mankind, such as the world isn't flat, the earth revolves around the sun, the universe was created through billions of years of evolution, and the unconscious influences us more than we'd like to admit. Not to mention the obvious past 200 years of amazing scientific discoveries. Science has also shown us how to deal with conflicting ideas when they come into contact with each other, such as Occam's razor and obviously experiments. However, what we have for our spiritual advice was created before all those understandings came into being. Doesn't that make you feel like they are a little... Doesn't that make you feel like our spiritual systems are a little outdated? Of course, they are outdated and antiquated. They are as antiquated as DOS 1.0. The time has come to replace all those past faith systems with a system that takes into consideration all those discoveries. Imagine how fresh it would be to have a spiritual path where logic, personal experience, science, and natural principles work together to help people understand their world and at the same time sets them up for long-term success. Wouldn't it be beautiful to have a spiritual path that doesn't limit your ability to think, question, or learn, but encourages it? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a spiritual path that brings people together instead of dividing them? Wouldn't it be great to have a spiritual path that can evolve instead of fighting the obvious facts? Well, that is exactly what Falling the Way of Growth is. Falling the Way of Growth is the next step in evolution of spirituality. Okay, like I said, I love that first paragraph. I think it's awesome. I'll probably revise it a little bit, but what's going on in it is awesome. Think about this again. I'm going to go through the first paragraph just talking to you now. There was a time when the spiritual systems that we had today, as far as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Taoism, Buddhism, they were all developed before mankind knew the world was round. There might have been a few people that knew it was round and could have figured it out, which I may talk about that here in a second. However, the majority of them were developed before they knew the world was round, before they knew the earth revolved around the sun. Most of them probably didn't know that. They may have had a clue that the universe was created through billions of years of evolution, which you sort of get that in the Genesis a little bit, but he's saying 7 days, which obviously isn't right. And, they didn't understand the unconscious per se. Like I say, there's always been a few people that sort of got it, and they couldn't spread it because the mass of people were just stupid, but think about it. They were developed before all these scientific discoveries and innovations that we live with today, like the computer, TV, internet. I mean, it's mind-boggling the amount of stuff that we know today that they didn't know back then. Don't get me wrong, they knew some stuff. There was always some really smart guys, but they couldn't really spread their message. Like today, look at me spreading my message. Back in the day, Jesus, he had to stand out on the edge of the water, or get out on a boat and talk to people up on the shore to get his voice spread. You don't have that no more. All you just have to have a computer and a webcam and the internet, and put your video up there, and it spreads to countries all over the world. So we're in an age where people who are really smart can get their messages out. So I don't know. I thought that was very telling. And again, let's see here, blah blah blah. Not to mention, and again, like science, science has had to work through conflicting ideas. Like there was a time when they thought the Earth was the center of the universe and everything revolved around it. And guy had a model that sort of mimicked that, and his model was almost equally predictive, but not quite as predictive as another guy's who said, boom, right here, the sun's the center and it all goes around. And eventually, they figured out who was right, and Occam's razor sort of points that out, which, if you don't know what Occam's razor is, it says, if you have two competing ideas that are about equally predictive, then you choose the one that's simpler. So, and obviously we have scientific experiments to validate stuff. Okay. And again, think if you're using DOS 1.0. Most of you, I would bet the venture most of you are not using Windows 3.1. And I know you're not using DOS 1.1, 1.0. Think of what it would be like today if you're using a TRS-80 computer. You know what I'm saying? It's the stuff that we're dealing with in our spiritual past, like the Bible, the Quran, the Tao Te Ching, Buddhism. It's all antiquated and outdated. I ain't saying it's completely outdated. There is things that work from it. And just like in Windows 7 now, which I'm not using Windows 7, I'm using Windows Vista, there's things from DOS 1.0 that are in Windows Vista. Maybe not exactly like it was. I'm sure there's probably some of the exact code, but maybe not. But the ideas have been taken from there and pulled into Windows Vista. And likewise, I've read the other spiritual paths. I know what they're saying. But more importantly, I've also got it directly from reality, which that's really how you get it. So, and somebody said this to me, they act like it's an insult. Well, it sounds to me like you're taking from every little religion and sort of making your own. Well, no, I learn from other people. It's what we're called humans. It's why we're social creatures. I learn from other people, and then I add to it. I take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And but anyway, I just want to say it is. I don't even know how these religious people can even consider themselves real truth seekers when you ignore scientific discoveries. It's like anytime a scientific discovery comes about, religious people, like Koreans, like, oh, I hope it don't conflict with the Bible. No, you shouldn't care if it conflicts with the Bible or not. If it conflicts with the Bible, you change. And, if the evidence, the preponderance of evidence shows that it's right, then you accept it. And you don't cling to your Bible. It's ridiculous. It's like I say, imagine if today we had to give up all the scientific discoveries we've learned since antiquity, and all we had was the scientific discoveries that were happened before back in BC, not in AC, or it's AD. I think it's AD. So, it's ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous. Well, at least us that are really smart, and it really needs to be replaced. It's going to be replaced, and falling away growth is the next step in the evolution of spirituality. And here's the beauty of it, man. The real beauty of it is there shouldn't be no real difference between science and spiritual. Really, it's just truth seeking at a different level. Scientific, where you're getting really caught up in the details. Where the spiritual path I'm on, it's more an intuitive. It's sort of like Einstein. When Einstein came along, he brought a lot of intuition into the game of science, and he created a framework for other people to fill in all the details of relativity and stuff like that. So, and that's what falling away growth is. I'm taking it, and I think you get the picture. Till the next video, later, folks.